Moin, ihr wunderbare Menschen des Interwebs. Ich begrüße euch ganz herzlich zurück zu meinem Let's Play von The Great Ace-Attorney Chronicles. Wir sind hier stehen geblieben bei der Aussage The Almond Gas Company's Investigation. Die Aussage wollten wir uns jetzt einmal anhören und ich bin mal gespannt, ob wir beweisen können, dass Miss Firma bestiehlt. I am proud to be the company's East End branch investigator and meter money collection agent. All the gas meters except property bits, each coin given customers about 2 hours of gorgeous gas. And yet, the meter in Mr. Shams's room didn't have a single coin in it. The meter doesn't appear to have been tampered with, though, and the collection agent has the only key. Somehow he's using all the flaming gas he wants without paying a penny. If that's not Stephen, what is? Pray forgive the discourtesy. The irrelevance of this testimony caused me to turn to my hollow chilies. What do you mean by that remark, Lord von Zieks? Did the mustachioed Nipponese poison the gangling excuse for an actor, or didn't he? That is all that should concern this court. And yet, now we must listen to this abhorrence. Clearly, what separates the vast British Empire and your Eastern Island nation is more than geographical distance. But this could turn out to be a crucial testimony. The cross-examination must go ahead. Do what you will. Lord von Zieks appears to be in a violent mood. Yes, he does. And attempted poisoning and an incident of gas theft with no supporting evidence. It's true that they would appear completely unrelated at first glance, but I wonder, the truth tends to be buried in the most unusual places, and the first step in uncovering it will be to establish just who and what this man really is. Okay. I am proud to be the company's East End Branch Investigator, Collecting Agent. Okay, ich glaube nicht, dass das so wichtig ist. All gas meters except company bits, each coin given customers about 2 hours of gorgeous gas. So, all London houses that have a gas supply are fitted with these gas meters, are they? They are the latest model, the height of technology developed by our company, Alderman Gas. And anyone who uses our gas will have one of these meters in their property, yes. So, if a 3-pence coin gives 2 hours of gas, most people would use about 3 coins in a night. A bit more than that usually. They have both gas lights and a gas stove, that is. Thinking about it, Sasaki-san doesn't have a fireplace in that room of his, does he? Some people still choose to use candles, of course, and only have gas for heating. Yes, I do remember seeing candles in Mr. Natsuma's room, actually. And how does the money and the meter get back to you at the gas company? Every 3 days, gasmen like me visit properties on the gas supply and empty the meters of coins. I must say, the design and manufacture of the new meter cost the company an awful lot of money. But happily, it did put a stop to people not paying their dues for the most part. Because they have to pay in advance, you mean? Yes, exactly right. And yet, the meter in Mr. Shams's room didn't have a single coin in it. Out of interest, how long has this been going on? Weeks and weeks. He's been pinching gas of us for ages. And you've examined the meter in Mr. Shams's room, I take it? Naturally, we took it off the wall and went over it with a fine-tooth comb. And found nothing suspicious at all, I presume. No, I am afraid we didn't, which is exactly why I demanded a new type of meter to be produced. One with an indestructible lock, the Shakespeare Special. That sounds like it would have cost an awful lot of 3-penny pieces. But even after all that, the rascal's meter was still empty. I will never forget the humiliation. Oh, mir fällt was ein. Es ist ja, wir haben ja so eine komische Marke in der Seife gefunden. Ich frage mich, ob der Fake Coins aus der Seife macht. Weil, wenn doch, und dann die Seife könnte... naja gut, aber wenn er dann so Fake-Coins macht, wie kann das denn sein, dass das leer ist? Weil ich jetzt nicht weiß, wie würde sich denn dann die Seife auflösen? Es sei denn, dass das Gasmeter an sich wird auch sehr, sehr warm und sehr, sehr heiß, dass die schmilzt, dass die schmelzen würde. Dann würde das eventuell gehen. Aber das ist jetzt so eine Vermutung. Also es muss auf jeden Fall irgendwas mit dieser Marke in der Seife zu tun haben, die wir gefunden hatten am Tatort. Aber wie genau er das macht, bin ich mir jetzt noch nicht sicher. Das ist jetzt so eine Theorie, dass er eben so Münzen aus der Seife herstellt. When I opened up the money box and found it there, you what I said, you would. And the look on his face, that smarmy smile of his. I pulled the meter straight off the wall and took it back to the office. But you know what? Nothing. Not a trace of it being jammed open anywhere, not a single sign. And what's happening to my salary as a result? Down by 3 shillings a day. That's what. A life-threatening situation in a number of ways. Incidentally, what became of that meter? Nothing became of it, I've still got it. Right here. No wonder they call you Meter Man. I think it would be prudent for the court to the quester decide while the trial is ongoing. Okay, das werden wir uns auch gleich einmal anschauen. Definitely, although at first glance there doesn't appear to be anything unusual about it. Let's move this along, shall we? Continue with your testimony. Though I would say it has as much value as the contents of that meter. Okay, so bevor wir uns hier weiter drum kümmern, würde ich mir gerne einmal das Gasmeter anschauen. That's a very sturdy looking catalog, isn't it? And the money box is sealed with beeswax too. If Mr. Shelms were to get up to any mischief, he would be found out immediately. Mr. Naruhodo, mischief of that kind is not the sort of thing that Mr. Shelms would... You know, you didn't finish that sentence, don't you? Well, anyway, it's understandable that the gas company would want to safeguard the money that's rightfully theirs. But it does feel a little over the top, perhaps, doesn't it? Nichts. Das ist ein Loch. What's... I just spotted something, Mr. Naruhodo. Here, there's a little hole, do you see? Goodness, you're right. I wouldn't have noticed. It's not a very neat hole, is it? Not professionally made, I would say. So you think it might have been opened up by Mr. Shakespeare? Possibly. It seems the people at Alderman Gas must have missed it. Well, it certainly seems to go all the way through the inside. Yes, but there's no way a coin could fit through there. It's true, but even though, it seems more than a little suspicious. Okay. Aber mehr kann ich mir hier nicht angucken. Okay, also jetzt überlegen wir mal. Wenn er jetzt wirklich falsche Münzen anfertigt mit der Seife, dann die Münzen benutzt, um Gas zu bekommen. Und sollte sich jetzt das Gasmeter von sich nicht aufheizen, dass die Seife schmilzt, könnte er auch doch rein theoretisch eine Kerze da unten drunter dran halten in dieses Loch. Dass sich das Ding aufwärmt und dann die Seife abläuft. Und dann würde er sozusagen keine Beweise hinterlassen. Auch wenn ich mir vorstellen kann, dass da trotzdem irgendwie da drinnen noch Seifenreste sein müssten. Aber so könnte ich mir vorstellen, dass er das macht, um kostenlos an das Gas zu kommen. There's only one key for all of your meters. Well, in truth, there's another key in the company vault at our main office. But even if someone had somehow managed to get hold of a key, we would know if the coin box had been opened. How? I came up with a rather clever way to expose any little shenanigans as it happens. Would you care to explain? Well, now, in order to empty a meter, you have to unlock the padlock and remove the cover. But when I close the cover again, I stick a little beeswax seal on it, you see? A seal? Like the sort of thing you would put on an envelope, you mean? Something like that, yes. Basically, you can't remove the cover again without breaking the seal. Now, in the case of Mr. Shamespeare's meter, there were no coins inside at all, as I said. But the seal hadn't been broken either. So that would mean Mr. Shamespeare somehow managed to steal coins from inside the meter without opening it. It would seem so, but that would be impossible. Somehow he's using all the flaming gas he wants without paying a penny. If that's not even what is. How do you know that he's been using gas though? Well, now, since I started investigating this bloke, I've been to his room more than a few times, and on every single occasion his lamps have been blazing and his stove pounding. It's the middle of winter and he still turns to me, sweat dripping down his cheeks, and says, "Get thee to a nunnery." Hamlet, indeed. I could wring the bloke's neck. I get all hot under the collar, but still, every time I open up that flaming meter, it's empty. He's robbing me of my salary too. What's wrong with the world? Where's the justice? But how can Mr. Shamespeare possibly be stealing the money? I don't understand. The simple explanation is right before your eyes. A toast to you, eventually realizing that the gasman could be an accomplice. You what? Good lord. Eminently plausible indeed. Well, what do you have to say for yourself? Oh, please, Lady Quinby, I'm a faithful worker. And besides, if the money us gasmen collect doesn't tally with how much gas has been used, you dock our pay by the same amount. So, you would be stealing money only to have the same amount taken from your wages. Clearly, that makes no sense. And perhaps it's a case of losing the battle to win the war? No. I'm not gonna stir up that hornet's nest. If I went stealing from the company, I would be finished. It would seem there is no evidence to support the claims of thievery made against the victim, because Mr. William Shamespeare is innocent. Pray, forgive me if that shatters some illusion my learned Nipponese friend was clearly under. Certainly didn't expect to uncover another crime that looks like it's been taking place in the very same room. According to the testimony, it's only the meter in Mr. Shamespeare's room that's under suspicion. It does seem as though perhaps it has nothing to do with the incident involving Mr. Natsume. I know, it doesn't seem that way, but the fact is, since I've been practicing law in England, I feel like I've encountered this at least once already. Cases that are interlinked. It might seem that two cases have nothing to do with one another at first, but in fact they are intimately connected. So we have experienced that before, haven't we? I wonder if this is another instance? Perhaps, but we can't be sure of that yet. If the Alderman Gas Company has been investigating Mr. Shamespeare so earnestly, there must be something to it. But then, how has he been managing to steal their gas? Okay, ich würde gerne... wo war es hier? The meter doesn't appear to have been tampered with, though. Und zwar hier würde ich jetzt gerne das Meter präsentieren, weil da schon sehr wohl dran rumgedoktert wurde. Lady Alderman, I'm afraid to say that this meter clearly does show signs of having been tampered with. I've been over and over that thing. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with it. In that case, what do you have to say about the small hole that's been made at the base of the coin box? Hole? What? You're right. You're quite right. There's a little hole there. The meters aren't supposed to have that. None of the others do. In other words, we can assume that Mr. Shamespeare secretly opened up this hole himself. Yes, I wouldn't be at all surprised, but why? Yeah, why? I mean, it's tiny. You couldn't get a orphan through that. Lady Aldermont, I wonder if you could give the court some more details about your meter design. What sort of details? Well, what I would specifically like to know is, okay, how it's dismantled, how it differentiates coins. How does the meter tell the difference between different coins? What do you mean? Well, for example, if someone were to put in a 1-penny coin, that wouldn't work presumably, would it? No, of course not. So, well, how does the meter know that the coin it's been fed is a front-row penny then? Ah, I see what you're getting at now. The meter tells the coins apart by their shape and size, which includes their thickness. A through penny pit is about 3/4 of an inch in diameter. You see, other coins just won't fit. I see. It's clearly been very well thought out. The witness will amend her formal testimony with that information in case it is pertinent. As you wish, my lord. The meter is designed for coins, the exact diameter and thickness of a through penny bit, and nothing else will fit. Okay. But conversely then, it would seem that anything matching a 3-pence coin exactly in terms of diameter and thickness would equally well be used. Would that be true? Well, yes, in a way. The weight comes into it to a certain extent as well. We have thought of that, though anyway. If I find any fake coins inside the coin box when I empty the meter, the contract says the customer has to pay 100 times the amount they diddled as a fine. We live for moments like that. As us gasmen do live for them. It would seem the gas company has thought of everything. Hooray for gas, hooray for cash. All demand all the way. That's quite enough of that. Remind me, how big are through penny bits? About 3/4 of an inch across. I think, Mr. Naruhodo, is this 2 centimeters measurement significant? Or perhaps there's some other aspect of the meter's construction that we should be focusing on? Yes, you may be right. Perhaps I should try a different tack here. Like asking about whether the meter can be dismantled, for example. Why not? How can a meter be dismantled? Dismantled? Yes, given that there are no signs of it having been forced. I'm wondering if perhaps rather than being broken open, it might have been taken apart. Well, yes, that does make some sense. The padlocks are made by a first-class locksmith from the finest quality steel, and the meter box itself is made from plate steel as well, welded shut to ensure it can't be opened again. I can assure you, it's quite impossible to dismantle it. Yeah, nothing leaks from an ultimate meter, no coins, no gas, no nothing. I see. The witness will amend her formal testimony with that information in case it is pertinent. As you wish, my lord. All joints on the meter are welded shut and the lock is made from solid steel. There's no way to dismantle it. Okay. Okay, jetzt ist nur die Frage, wie verbinde ich die Punkte? Weil hier die... Oh, so, die Seife... Bar of Soap. Moment, hat sich das wieder resettet? Ich hatte doch die Seife mir schon angeguckt mit dem Markending. Wieso ist die Marke jetzt weg? Hä? Oh, look at this bar of soap. There's a circular depression on this side, about 2 centimeters across, or 3/4 of an inch. Do you think? We did find the soap at the scene, didn't we? Yes, there were 2 bars on that little ledge just outside the window, so we took this one. But I'm sure that when we first found it, there was some sort of reddish medallion in the middle there. I remember it clearly. Yes, but there's no sign of it now. Where could it have gone? Okay, a cheap bar of soap. There is a 2 centimeter diameter circular depression in the middle of one surface. Okay. Also, ich glaube schon, dass ich in der Hinsicht richtig liege, dass er die Seife benutzt, um diese Münzen zu faken und dann eben die in das Meter steckt, um eben kostenlos Gas zu bekommen. Und dann, wenn das sich erhitzt, dann läuft ja die Seife einfach unten wieder raus. Und deswegen hat er dieses Loch da unten reingemacht, um um hier das, um die Seife da wieder rauszuholen, um eben keine Beweise zu hinterlassen. Aber jetzt ist eben die Frage, wie beweise ich das? Okay, Moment. Ich bräuchte... Oh yeah, they've tried, but they've all given up before long. After all, if they actually broke the meter, the company would be able to take legal action. Yes, that makes sense. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Is its welded seal construction significant, or perhaps there's some other aspect of the meter's construction that we should be focusing on? Yes, you may be right. Perhaps I should try a different track here. Like asking about how the meter differentiates coins, for example. Okay, also wir können die Aussage ändern und ich glaube, dass wenn sie über die Münzen redet, dass das wichtiger für uns ist. Also im Prinzip sagt sie jetzt wieder dasselbe. Nur, dass sie jetzt eben ihre Aussage wieder dazu ändert, dass sie die Coins... Die Münzen jetzt hier erwähnt. Gut, aber jetzt ist nur die Frage, wie verbinde ich das alles miteinander? Also, the meter is designed for coins. The exact diameter and thickness of a fruit, nothing will fit otherwise. Okay. Gut. Ich versuche, das Gasmeter nochmal zu präsentieren. Was mir nichts bringt. Shit. Dammit, wie beweise ich das jetzt, dass das zusammenhängt? Wie beweise ich das jetzt? Ich weiß halt jetzt nicht, ob ich... Ich glaube nicht, dass ich die Seife direkt zeigen kann. Das würde weniger Sinn ergeben. Das ist jetzt wieder so ein bisschen tricky. Ich habe jetzt zwar die Lösung, wie es macht, aber wie zeige ich das jetzt vor? Also hier ist eine Pfütze zu sehen. Ich könnte versuchen, das Foto zu zeigen. Okay, das funktioniert auch nicht. Dammit. Wie mache ich das jetzt? That's right, my lord. In a number of ways. Perhaps it would serve you well to concentrate your efforts on one contradiction at a time, Counsel. Ach, Mann. Okay, yeah, but somehow he's using the flaming gas he wants without paying a penny. If that's not thief, then what is? I certainly didn't expect to cover... Okay, da wiederholen sie das jetzt wieder alles, nur... Ich habe jetzt nur Angst, dass ich hier meine ganzen Leben verballer. Okay, wie beweise ich das? Also das ist nicht wichtig. Alderman Gasman, das ist auch nicht wichtig. Shamsford Room didn't have a single coin in it. So, the meter is designed for coins. The exact diameter and the thickness of a true penny, but nothing else will fit. Ich könnte halt jetzt nur noch die Seife davor zeigen. Oder? Weil mir fällt ansonsten eben nichts anderes ein. Oder ich muss es bei einem anderen Statement präsentieren. Weil, somehow he's using all the flaming gas he wants without paying a penny. If that's not Stephen, what is? Ja, aber das... Meter is designed for coins, the exact diameter and thickness. Okay, ich werde jetzt einmal versuchen, die Seife vorzuzeigen. Okay, die Seife. Okay, die Seife war doch richtig gut. Ich wusste jetzt nur nicht, in welcher Reihenfolge ich das präsentieren sollte, damit eben das Sinn ergibt. Ne? Weil die Logik, die ich jetzt in meinem Kopf habe, ist ja eigentlich, passt ja schon. Ne? Er benutzt die Seife, um die Münzen zu machen und dann benutzt diese Fake-Münzen, um die da reinzumachen und dann lässt er die Seife einfach wieder ablaufen und so hinterlässt er keine Beweise. Let me just confirm something here. If the diameter and the thickness were to be correct, the meter would accept any object as if it were a through penny bid. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. Well, by something of a coincidence, while we were investigating in Mr. Shamesby's room, we found a particular item that matches the dimensions perfectly. Something the same size as a through penny bid? What was it? The item in question is this. What? Have you been inhaling gas? That's a bar of soap. It certainly looks nothing like a through penny bid, I must say. It looks like I'm going to have to point out exactly what I mean here. What's so important about the soap is this part here. You have to turn over the soap to see what I mean. Are you referring to the round depression in the middle of the soap there? That's right, a depression that's approximately 3/4 of an inch in diameter. Or in other words, almost exactly the same size as a through penny bid. Get away. Does anyone here present have in their possession a through penny bid? Quickly now, hand over your coins, ladies and gentlemen. It sounds rather like a highway robbery, doesn't it? Thanks to kind member of the public in the gallery, I have there a through penny bid. Now, to see if it fits... My word, it couldn't be more snug. Yes, as I suspected. This, without a doubt, is a vital clue to explain how the Alderman Gas Company is being defrauded. Well, I don't believe it. So, your assertion amounts to what? That some inferior bar of soap has a tentative connection to the theft of gas? Yes. The depression in the soap was clearly made by a through penny bid. I must concur at last that pushing a coin with some force into a poor quality bar of soap such as this is a remarkably simple way of replicating the coin's shape. And then you could use, well, some melted wax or something to pour into the mold. You could make fake coins in no time. This brings all the pieces of the puzzle together. It's the method Mr. Shamespeare has been using to steal the gas. That's the missing link. And now, if I follow the chain of thought, it's going to bring me to a new explanation for what happened that nobody's considered yet. But this is all nonsense. If the man had been making fake coins, my worker here would have found them when he emptied the meter. Quite true, Lady Alderman. In the absence of some black magic that could make them disappear. I see. That's what we're dealing with, is it? There is one form of black magic that could cause the fake coins to disappear into thin air, yes. Exactly, and the meter here gives it away. What on earth? There are remnants of the magical method used visible on the gas meter taken from the victim's room. If that is your assertion, counsel, the defense will identify these remnants for the court at once. Where on the meter can the remnants of the method used to make the fake coins disappear be seen? Hier unten. We found this bar of soap on the scene of the crime just outside the victim's window. Outside? Yes, outside, where you yourself, Mr. Meaderman, were loitering in the freezing winter air. That's where we found the soap. I get it. That's right. The answer, of course, is ice. Did you say ice? Mr. Shakespeare has been leaving soaps like this outside his window each evening filled with water. After a night outside in the bitter cold, the water is completely frozen solid the next morning. Then he takes his fake coins of ice and feeds them into the gas meter, giving him light and warmth in spades. As his room becomes very comfortably warm, the ice now inside the meter's coin box melts, turning back into water and draining harmlessly away through the small hole made in the underside of the meter. Ja, ich habe immer die ganze Zeit gedacht, er macht die Coins aus Seife, aber er hat die Seife einfach nur als Stance benutzt. Also er hat die Münze reingedrückt, um den Abdruck der Seife zu machen. Dann hat er Wasser reingefüllt und dann, wenn das freest, da hat er eine Eismünze sozusagen. Das ergibt Sinn. Also er hat die Münze nicht aus der Seife selbst gemacht, sondern er hat die Seife nur als Mold benutzt. Und mir fällt jetzt gerade nicht das deutsche Wort ein. Als Vorlage eben benutzt um daraus diese Eismünzen zu machen. That is how, without leaving any evidence of this wrongdoing, this man has been stealing Aldermont gas. Just like that, so simply. Is he trying to make us look like idiots? He's been fooling us all with some bars of soap and some water. That's right, madam. I don't believe it. It can't be true. Do you have any idea how much money we spent to develop that new meter? And now you have the audacity to suggest that a bit of soap and some water can render it totally useless? I am fairly sure I didn't design it. Evidence. Sorry. I want evidence. If you're going to stand there and tell me our meters are rubbish, I want to see proof. She's very good at enforcing accountability, isn't she? Very well, Lady Aldermont. If you would like evidence, I will provide it. Mr. Naruhodo, are you saying you do actually have evidence to support this theory? I did notice a trace of something that bothered me a little at the time. And I have a feeling that this theory we have come up with now could explain it. The piece of evidence that substantiates the theory about how Mr. Shakespeare has been stealing gas is... Das müsste das Crime Scene Foto sein. Weil wir da die Pfütze sehen. This is a photograph of the scene at the point when the victim was discovered, taken by Inspector Gregson. And it clearly shows the remnants of the crime carried out by Mr. Shakespeare. What remnants? Here you can see the gas meter on the wall in Mr. Shakespeare's room. Now, look closely at the floorboards directly underneath the meter. What is that? Some kind of grubby stain? Almost certainly it's a water stain resulting from the liquid that drained out of the hole made in the meter. If one coin gives around 2 hours of gas usage and the occupant was heating his room in all his waking hours, we can imagine he would have used around 10 of his fake coins each day. The melting ice inside the meter's coin box would have been dripping out almost constantly, leaving a stain on the floor. This is awful. And there's further evidence too. Mr. Shakespeare is slumped over his table, apparently having consumed the poison. And right there next to him is a bar of soap broken in half. Alright. It would appear to me then, counsel, that the man was eating the soap, was he? Pardon me for disagreeing with your lordship, but certainly not. didn't beat about the bush here, did he? In truth, Mr. Shamesbury was found with a fork in his hand. A meal of soap is sounding increasing. Do you mean to say he was using that fork to... Yes. To extract a frozen coin from the bar of soap. The bar broke in half. So perhaps it didn't go very well. Good gracious. Ich glaube, ich weiß, in welche Richtung das geht. Ich bin mir noch nicht so 100% sicher. Aber ich glaube, ich weiß, was Ryunosuke als andere Möglichkeit präsentieren möchte. I was throwing my hand up in despair. And happened to catch my hallowed bottle on the way. Pray forgive my maladroit mistake. What is the meaning of this, counsel? Allow me to pose my learned friend a question. What exactly did you establish with your most recent cross-examination? Well... that Mr. William Shamesbury is a liar and a thief. In other words, that his testimony is unreliable. That's it. That's exactly it. Very well, let us assume the man is a liar. Now, allow me to pose another question. What possible difference does that make? Well, we know that suicide can be discounted. Scotland Yard's investigation revealed no sign of another vessel that contained poison. And on the night in question, there were no visitors to the room except the accused. The young gasman's testimony, which we have no reason to doubt, has confirmed that. Furthermore, the only possible way the poison could have entered the victim's body is via the tea. The court has seen no evidence whatsoever that suggests otherwise. Even if William Shamesbury is the liar you claim him to be, these facts have been objectively established. There's no escaping it. Therefore, in light of these facts, the prosecution calls for immediate Warum überspringe ich das Wort immer? Well, counsel, how does the defense respond? Mr. Naruhodo. What was the point of that last cross-examination? Did it actually get us anywhere? Or did it make no difference at all, like Lord von Six is saying? Raise an objection. No, this isn't over. Defense will not rest. What? But counsel, you've successfully explained everything. You've identified and substantiated the unscrupulous method employed by Mr. Shamesbury to consume gas. What more is there to discuss? Lord von Six just highlighted 3 facts in order to make his point, but contrary to what he would have the court believe, not all of them have been objectively established at all. What are you trying to say, my Nipponese friend? At least one of those so-called facts is an assumption made due to a lack of evidence. But the situation has changed now, following the cross-examination of the latest witnesses to take the stand. Don't be absurd. What is this nonsense? Yes, when you bring everything we've learned so far together and consider it as a whole, it's clear. There's a question that we now need to reconsider, namely, was someone else responsible? Was there another visitor? Was the poison in the tea? We have all been led to believe that the poison that afflicted Mr. Shamesbury was in the tea brought to him by Mr. Natsume, but that's conjecture at best. The victim has testified that nothing else passed his lips that night. There is no other possibility. And since there was no trace of the tea left at the scene, it couldn't be tested for traces of the poison. As I said, the situation has changed, because in fact, some of Mr. Natsume's tea was left at the scene, and a particular piece of evidence proves it. Ludicrous claim. Scotland Yard detectives investigated the scene exhaustively. What evidence? Are you suggesting they missed? The defense has made a bold claim indeed. Very well, counsel. Present your proof. What evidence from the scene of the crime can tell us about the nature of the defendant's tea? Good gracious. This soap again? The same bar the victim used to fashion his coins of ice. Yes, that's right, my lord. It just came back to me. Something about when we first found this bar of soap at the scene yesterday. It's more bars of soap. Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window? I'm quite certain that when we originally stumbled upon the bars of soap, there was actually a frozen coin in each bar.
Ja, deswegen... Ach Gott, ich stand hier jetzt... Also, ich habe rausgefunden, dass er falsche Coins macht, aber ich habe mich dann gewundert, als ich die Seife nochmal untersucht habe. Oh, jetzt ist die Münze weg. Da hätte ich mir eigentlich denken können, dass gerade weil die draußen auf dem Fensterbrett gelegen haben, dass er Wasser benutzt hat, um eben die Münzen aus Eis herzustellen. Und dadurch, dass jetzt diese Münze weg ist, weil wir die ganze Zeit diese Seife bei uns hatten und dann natürlich das Eis irgendwann geschmolzen ist. Und deswegen war die Münze da weg. Ja, da stand ich jetzt wieder auf dem Schlauch und habe das war eigentlich so logisch, dem zu folgen. Da stand ich wieder ein bisschen auf dem Schlauch. It was actually a frozen coin in each bar. So you discovered the gas seats coin factory. Fascinating. In a way, yes, but there's more. The coins we found in the soap at the time weren't normal ice. There was something strange about them, you mean? Exactly, something very obviously strange. They were red. The ice was red. You mean... That's right, it's obvious to me now. The fake coins in the soap were made from frozen tea. I would remind the court of a statement made by Mr. Natsume earlier in his trial. Good evening. Yes, I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I visited Mr. Shamesby's room as a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I bought bottled water especially to make it. And this is the result. Never will I touch tea again. Oh yes, I believe there had been a snowfall that day. It was particularly cold. Sadly, on such occasions, the poorly constructed water mains in the East End are prone to freezing. So on the night in question, Mr. Shamesby, having no running water to use, was forced to use the tea brought by Mr. Natsume in order to make his fake coins. There were 2 bars of soap on the window ledge when my judicial assistant and I investigated the scene. That's right, and we only borrowed one of them. Which means that even as we speak, some of the defendant's tea is still present at the scene of the crime, frozen solid in a bar of soap outside Mr. Shamesby's window. Extraordinary. Earlier today, Inspector Gregson informed the court that if even one drop of tea remained, Scotland Yard would be able to analyze it for poison. As such, we are now in a position to prove or disprove what has until now been mere conjecture, by finding out for sure whether or not Mr. Natsume's tea actually contained the poison at all. You smug Nipponese. My lord, we cannot do the defendant the injustice of passing judgment now. The police should be dispatched to recover the remaining bar of soap from the scene at once, and the defense requests a thorough analysis of the frozen tea embedded in it to determine whether or not it contains any poison. Instruct the police to attend the scene at once. Yes, my lord, understood. Ja, ich stand da, also ich habe richtig gedacht, dass er die Seife benutzt, um diese Fake-Coins herzustellen, aber habe mich dann zu sehr an der Seife aufgehangen, also habe zu sehr daran gedacht, okay, die Seife, aus der Seife wurden diese Fake-Münzen hergestellt. Da habe ich mich zu sehr aufgehangen mit diesem Gedanken. Und habe eben nicht dran gedacht, ja, er kann natürlich auch Wasser benutzen, also er kann das nur als Mold benutzt haben, die Seife, und dann eben das Wasser eingefüllt haben, um daraus die Münzen zu machen. It would seem we have no choice but to suspend these proceedings for the time being. I trust you have no objection, Lord von Zieks. None, my lord. Scotland Yard will recover the tea from the scene and carry out the
request tests immediately. The trial will resume at the same hour tomorrow. The prosecution and defense may conduct further investigations as appropriate in the meantime. Yes, my lord. Pass auf, so schnell immer das wegzudrücken. Well, we managed to scrape through there somehow. Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned until tomorrow. To be continued. Meine Stimme stimmt auch wieder. Ein Zeichen dafür, dass ich etwas trinken sollte. Okay, wir haben den ersten Verhandlungstag überstanden und haben ein schlimmes Ende erstmal abgewendet. Jetzt bin ich natürlich gespannt, ob wirklich Gift im Tee war oder nicht. Und falls nicht, woher kam das Gift? Also wie wurde er vergiftet? Aber da das jetzt alles noch nicht vorbei ist, kann ich mir eben auch vorstellen, dass trotzdem noch Mr. Natsume in der Schusslinie stehen wird. Und sollte das Gift nachgewiesen werden in dem Tee, dann muss es ja trotzdem eine andere Möglichkeit geben. Also, dass eventuell schon vorher irgendwas in der Tasse war, zum Beispiel. Aber ja, wir müssen mal gucken, wie das jetzt weitergeht. Ich möchte jetzt nicht zu sehr spekulieren und bin einfach mal gespannt, was wir jetzt bei unserer nächsten Untersuchung herausfinden werden, was da noch so rauskommt, ob da jetzt wirklich Gift im Tee war oder nicht und wie das Ganze weitergeht. Aber hier gibt es jetzt erstmal einen Cut. Ich bedanke mich ganz herzlich fürs Zusehen, hoffe, ihr hattet Spaß und wenn ihr mögt, sehen wir uns sehr, sehr gerne im nächsten Part wieder. Bis dahin, ciao!